Hey yo, what is going on, viewers of the tube? My name is Tyler and welcome to the channel that keeps the content flowing so consistent and so good, the Oroville Dam might just have cracked under our pressure.
Breaking news in Northern California tonight. Tens of thousands forced to evacuate tonight due to concerns the Oroville Dam's emergency spillway could fail.
You know the natural disaster. It's time for Chico Crypto. Speaking of being under pressure and getting ready to explode, today I would like to do a video I said I was going to be doing for a while now. That is a review of a former low cap that has moved up into the higher mid cap range, into the top 100 on CoinMarketCap. That coin is iExec RLC. Now, I have mentioned what iExec is and the token more than a few times recently. The first time was way back in May of 2018, when it was first announced they were working directly with Intel, which I sort of caught on too and read into their blog posts. But I wish I dug deeper back then and actually found the presentation of Intel's Sanjay Bashki and iExec's Francois Branquiart demonstrating their work from the Trusted Compute team at the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, EEA, regarding the iExec solution for using SGX in blockchain products. And at the beginning of the presentation, it details what Sanjay is, Ethereum Enterprise Alliance Technical Steering Committee co-chair and principal engineer at Intel. Why didn't I see this back then? But this was possibly a blessing in disguise that I didn't recognize the importance. As we can see, the lowest price before the Intel news in May of 2018 was about 85 cents. It pumped all the way to nearly $2.50. And then after that was pretty much a downward slide. And if I would have noticed this back then I may have FOMO'd at way too high of a price. But if I played it smart, I could have got a lower price in USD terms, 15 cents during the low in December of that year. But by waiting even more, there was even a better price in BTC, which happened in September and October of this year. And that is exactly when I started to realize the depth and future implications of iExec RLC, especially with the release of the Hyperledger Avalon Trusted Compute Framework. This involved, of course, Ethereum, but two other blockchain projects, Chainlink, which pumped me up, but then iExec. So right away I started to do some digging, and it clicked. iExec is heavily involved with this framework, and even more so with EEA's off-chain trusted compute specification, which is verified by the most recent release edition. Sanjay and Eugene Yarmush of Intel are authors, and Li Zhang of iExec. And if we go back to the Avalon blog post, we can see the project began as a reference implementation of the EEA off-chain trusted compute. And iExec built a heart disease evaluation prototype, and they immediately dove into building the Ethereum components for Avalon's proxy model. So before getting any further regarding this, I need to explain exactly what iExec RLC is. They are essentially building the next decentralized cloud infrastructure that will support the emerging class of blockchain and ledger-based applications. Basically, you have the outside public blockchain world, which users interact with through a variety of dApps. Now, iExec is a new ecosystem of companies offering storage, computer farms, and data hosting in the form of worker and schedulers to perform off-chain computations, which relay back to the public side through an Oracle solution. Now, there are other projects which share the same vision of a new cloud infrastructure, like Golem and Sonam, but the go-to-market strategies differ, and I think iExec is going the right way. Golem is going after a single market first to attract users to their platform, 3D rendering. Sonam is trying to attack the fog and edge computing market from the beginning, competing with the big dogs out the gate. While iExec first will focus on supporting the applications built on blockchain and ledgers, to first build a decentralized cloud that will eventually become competitive enough to attract cloud and the high-performance computing market. But if you recognize their involvement with major enterprises, Ethereum Enterprise Alliance, Intel, and Hyperledger Avalon, you get the feeling iExec is taking the correct go-to-market strategy. iExec core value is it will serve the need of all decentralized businesses, including the blooming DeFi sector. dApps can perform off-chain computations on demand, making them quick, fast, and just as reliable and cost-effective as regular applications, as iExec radically will lower computing costs. Data providers will be able to significantly expand their market size by integrating their services and existing data with iExec. And the next one is the big one, server providers. they will be able to monetize their unused computing resources and thus increase their ROI on their existing infrastructure. Why this is important ties back to the trusted compute. I have a big supporter of iExec in the Chico Army, and they made this connection. All the major companies and cloud service providers want trusted compute. Not only that, but anonymous trusted compute. And this is what iExec provides. Many of these large cloud providers are heavily involved with them. Intel, which is confirmed. Microsoft, which can be found with EA specification v1.0. Marley Gray, Microsoft, seen there. As well as back on Hyperledger Avalon documentation. Oracle, IBM, Baidu, and Alibaba Cloud. Now these large companies literally have millions of dollars in unused server power sitting idle every minute, and iExec is providing them a path to unleash it, making all their servers as monetarily efficient as possible. How this happens would need maybe a few videos to fully explain, but I'm going to try and break it down the best I can. The background of iExec goes way back. The technology of using idle and shared computing resources to execute tasks began in 1999, when research first started. Eventually, they developed Extreme Web HEP, an open source desktop grid software, and published over 100 scientific papers. Charles, I thought you were the scientific paper man.
The 53 papers we wrote say that's not right. But Chico and these other guys want to keep pushing that narrative. All it does is just makes them look like idiots.
This desktop grid technology, ExtremeWeb, was fully developed by iExec and is the backbone of their company and future. Now, iExec is developing a sidechain infrastructure to coordinate the access of computing resources to requesters. And this sidechain relies on their own Proof of Contribution Consensus Protocol, or POCO. And to explain this, you would need to understand there are two entities needed for this to work. Number one, a marketplace where workers propose their computing resources, where deals are made using the RLC token. And number two, a distributed infrastructure based on the middleware Extreme Web HEP. Now, POCO is the link between these two, and for it to be trusted, consensus needs to be performed. This could happen on Ethereum, but as it stands, it couldn't handle enterprise-scale applications. Thus, the hub and marketplace decentralization, security, and confidence are ensured by consensus on the iExec sidechain. And what many people don't seem to comprehend is the next iteration of the iExec platform, v4, is set to be released by the end of this year, and it includes the initial implementation of a sidechain for the very first time. Yes, iExec has had v3 out for some time, which runs on the Ethereum mainnet. But if we go to their website and go to products, they have the marketplace up, data store up, the app store up, decentralized oracles up, and of course, their token. Going to their marketplace and connecting to the Ethereum mainnet, you can see it is functioning and performing tasks, as trades are going down just like an exchange, but for computing resources and not crypto. And looky here, there is something important, worker pool. Yes, iExec was a project that came up with the term from their work and research on desktop grid technology. Now let's go back to Hyperledger Avalon documentation and type in worker. Damn, Gina, came up 34 times. How about the EA's trusted compute specification? Worker, just 446 times. Narrowing it down, worker pool, 5 times. And as we can see here, from the first find of the word, a worker service can support a single worker or a group of workers. Workers may be registered individually, enabling requesters to select a particular worker for work order execution, or multiple workers may be registered and managed collectively as a worker pool. And like mentioned, with version 3, worker pools are live on the Ethereum blockchain. Public is for anyone to connect their machine to and join to start earning RLC tokens, and the public TEE is for Intel SDX enabled machines. Remember that partnership? And for use with the end-to-end trusted execution environment. It guarantees code and data loaded inside to be protected with respect to confidentiality and integrity. Exactly what the big dogs want. But they also have both types of worker pools functioning on the Kovan testnet, a proof of authority chain, aka iExec is ready for their sidechain implementation. Now to some just developed iExec enterprise integration news. On October 7th, Microsoft's Marley Gray and Intel unveiled the Token Taxonomy Initiative, a platform for mining enterprise-ready crypto tokens. And as we can see, those involved with the build were many major Ethereum developer groups: ConsenSys, Pegasus, Kaleido, Envision Blockchain, and only iExec. Well, just yesterday, Microsoft announced at the Microsoft Ignite conference more details, including a name for their Azure platform, Azure Blockchain Tokens, even with some enterprise-ready example tokens: Hyperledger Fabric's Fab token, Santander's Bond token, and a reward token for Intel and ConsenSys. And then on the same day this article was released, Intel to work with Microsoft for Enterprise Edge, as in edge computing, moving away from centralized servers, and iExec is the one connected to them both in this specific area. There is so much more to iExec I would love to go through: the data store, dApp store, and more importantly, their Doracle or D-Oracle solution. Many have wanted to see me compare this with Chainlink. What do you think? Tell me in the comments, and cheers! I'll see you next time.